Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, King Deal, Lauren Frey, Grim Clover, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. So I have been playing a lot of Killer 7 on Steam recently. I've been streaming it casually. I'm nearing the end of the Sunset chapter. I'm about to kill those Japanese businessmen. And it kind of got me thinking that there's still a lot about Killer 7 that I don't really know or understand or really care about. It's one of those things where the way Killer 7 works, and one of the reasons it's probably one of the most compelling pieces of fiction ever created, is that it's extremely layered in that, like, it is extremely open to interpretation, and it just has so much going on. It's so convoluted that it is very, very, very difficult to make sense of it. Even if you've played the game as much as I have, I'm sure, like, I'm not like the most hardcore Killer 7 fan in the world. I've got on record about this. I'm much more. I was traditionally much more invested in No More Heroes, but now that I'm a little bit older and going back through Killer 7 again, I do feel like I am. I don't want to say appreciating it more than I used to, because I always did appreciate the game for what it was. But I am starting to, like, think more about, like, how all of these things sort of intertwine, and I'm starting to wonder if it goes beyond what people commonly talk about, because people often talk a lot about, like, Andre Almeida and the Yakumo and things like that. But then there's certain aspects to it, particularly the ones like heavily rooted in Japanese culture, like the whole businessman thing that I was talking about, that people don't talk about at all, right? Like I just played through the restaurant mission. The first part of Sunset, where Harmon Smith confronts Toro Fukushima, the restaurant owner, who states his childhood dream of growing up to be a politician, like a leader that people could look up to, but he became disillusioned with the lifestyle when he realized, like, just how fake and gay everyone involved in it was. That's kind of it's kind of something. It's things like that I think kind of go over younger players' heads. Like, maybe I think a lot of it is so culturally significant that you can't possibly fathom everything that happens here without, like, knowing a lot about American and Japanese politics, not knowing a lot about history, not knowing a lot about, why people pursue a life in politics, not understanding, like, Killer 7's world, which in and of itself is kind of a nightmare. Like, it is an extremely complicated game to understand. But I think there is a really good starting point. I do think there is something that people tend to pick up on very, very easily, and I think it's because it's so relatable. And that is Andre Almeida, the man with the plan. I just made a 4chan thread about him, actually, and again, it's kind of remarkable how this, out of all, like, the Killer 7 stuff, I tend to use, like, spark discussion of the game online, how this, like, gets the most responses and gets, like, most people fired up, because Andre Almeida is probably the most popular target in the game. He's the most remembered. He's the one that people quote the most. Like, he has a lot of memorable moments. Like, and I think a big part of that is, like, Cloudman is such, like, a real his chapter, Cloudman, is such a real, it's such, like, a relatable, easy to understand sort of character study into, like, who he is and stuff like that. Like, most other chapters tend to focus on, like, a lot of other stuff. Like Sunset in particular, you have to understand like what the fuck is happening with, like, Japan about to get destroyed, and, like, the guys, like, arguing, doing political talks in the basement, and, like, the old Japanese guys, and, Kunlan appearing out of nowhere and then disappearing just as quickly. Like, it is extremely difficult to understand. I think with Cloudman, this is where a lot of players start to feel like this could make sense because you're actually given a lot of time to understand Almeida. You have a general idea of who he is, what his company First Life is, and what exactly he's trying to accomplish. And that makes the character so much more interesting to people when you can actually like somehow like understand what he's doing. And that's kind of my recommendation. If for those of you who are looking to get into Killer 7, is just like hold out into Cloudman, hold out until Cloudman, and then kind of like think about like Andre Almeida, how he rose from his position as a lowly postal worker to running First Life Incorporated, and how he proceeded from there, like what he chose to do from that point onward. It's an interesting little chapter. Not gonna lie, I will be playing it in the future. Once I continue playing Killer 7, we'll have to see when exactly that is. But yeah, Killer 7 is a trip. There's so much to talk about, so much to discuss, and I really don't even know where to start. And honestly, I'm not even sure I'm the right person to do it. But I really do love this game, and I do think everyone should check it out.